Hey guys, it is Chels from Blueberry Funded, and today we have another market breakdown for this week. This week is going to be a pretty big week when it comes to red folder news. Half of this week is red folder news, guys. So, right now, I'm just checking my economic calendar. Obviously, Monday today, there is no red folder news, so it's very good and safe to trade. Tuesday is a really good day to trade as well, as there is no high impact red folder news. Coming into Wednesday, guys, we do have the Fed interest rate decision as well as FOMC. So that is going to be a very, very high red folder impact news. Going into Thursday, we also do have high impact news. It is going to be GDP, okay? And then going into Friday and closing out the week, we do have CPI as well. So again, it is going to be a high volatile week in the markets. So we want to just make sure that we are being cautious when it comes to trading this week, especially since it all starts on Wednesday, right? Which is obviously 2 sessions from now for New York. Anyway, going into this week and what I'm looking at, guys, I do have GBPUSD pulled up on my chart here. I still have these levels marked out from the last 2 weeks now. And so far, GBPUSD is, again, still having this nice reaction off of 1.32526 area. Now, we haven't really done too much as far as breaks in structure. We've kind of just been trending here and moving kind of sidewards between 1.33500 and 1.33000. Okay, so what I'm looking from here, again, I'm obviously still favoring bullish up until 1.36500. So right now, I'm not really paying too much attention to GBP USD. I am paying more so attention to gold or US 30. But as of right now, this structure is still holding. Again, we have that nice break of internal structure to the upside here. I do believe that this was just a correction coming back down, potentially to test this area to see if this was a strong low holding, and then we can continue higher from here, right? Again, just building up liquidity on both sides of the market so we can actually extend this trend line here, right? But once this again pushes up above that, it would be safe to say that this would be continuing bullish to the upside around 1.36000, kind of that area that we were potentially looking at. And that is also pulling back into a 4-hour higher time frame range. So as of right now, still favoring bullish on this side because no lows have been broken. And we do have highs that's been broken here, right? Internal highs shifting to the upside. So again, I do just think this is a test right here. Moving into US 30. US 30 has been super bullish since the close of last week. I do still have this area here marked around 45,600. I do believe at some point, maybe on the daily and the weekly, we could continue to push lower beneath that and potentially even get a reaction at around this area, right? Could potentially come up into around, what is this, 45,200, because this was the last low that had swept liquidity and broken structure to the upside. So this kind of shows me strength at this low here. So potentially could come back down to push into this, right? And again, I am someone that pays a lot of attention to liquidity pools. So this would then be that liquidity pool for me as well. This would be equal lows on a much lower time frame. So kind of just looking at these to potentially be rated. But again, don't know how long that will take, especially on a higher time frame. But for now, dropping to the lower time frames because we did have that push breaking all-time highs to end the week last week on US 30. Right now, structure kind of looks a little iffy. We are kind of moving sideways at this moment, and there is a lot of wicks here, but I do see a potential to the downside, potentially coming up here to the previous break of structure around 47,150. Or again, we could continue lower, right? I think my targets for right now, especially on the 4-hour, is potentially coming back into 46,500 area. So I would love to see that big push up into there. If not, again, first targets would just be to that previous break of structure in here. So that's what I'm kind of eyeing right now. And being that if we do have these session breaks on here, The New York Open had actually swept above London's close last week. So that is kind of what I'm seeing on the 4 hour here. So we had that sweep of liquidity already. It did show a pretty nice reaction. And so I'm just looking for these wicks to get filled in. And on my broker for my forex account, there is a gap here on US30. It did gap up during market open, and so it's not showing on here obviously, but I am looking for that gap to get filled to the downside. But we are currently also in an area of imbalance right here, so we could also shift to the upside, taking out highs again before we do top out and potentially fall for a correction. Other than that, just watching US30 here. Going into gold, gold, I believe, is still going to fall potentially, but that just also depends on where we're at currently here as well, right? Initially, I had thought we would have had a nice reaction at this area around 4,025 to the upside, breaking internal highs here. But again, that just did not happen, pushing back into this higher time frame range. So right now on the daily, we are actually at a potential area for gold to have a reaction. So we could actually react here, just depending on how the New York close, how the candle looks at New York close, and depending on how this candle closes here at the end of New York can give us a really good indication of if we are going to push back into range here and potentially target around 4,200 area. Or if we do end up getting that close below on the daily, then I do see gold actually pushing a lot further down, potentially back into this previous breakout structure here, even back into the 3,500s, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I haven't really been trading gold last week, kind of been looking at US30 over it, but so far, again, if we just get this, it's showing a lot more structure on gold nowadays, which is great. But again, just waiting to see what the news events show us, and we'll kind of go from there when it comes to structure on gold, structure on the US30, anything like that. So I do believe when it comes to the high impact red folder news this week, it's going to give us a lot of clarity on the structure of these assets. So just paying really, really close attention to those. And these are the levels that I'm currently looking at. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a very cautious and great trading week ahead. And I will catch you guys next week for the next market breakdown.